They ought to burn this place down.
Seems like folks are trying. Jason? You seen this girl around here?
Oh yeah. Rosamund Pike, she got nominated for Best Actress. But I don't know how David Fincher didn't get a nomination. Honestly, he's a beast at directing actors. So if you're a Fincher fan like me, you've probably seen a million videos on what makes him such a genius director. There's videos on how he directs a set, his cinematography style, the colors he uses, how he does so many takes, and all the meticulous stuff that he puts in to crafting his films. But one thing that always caught my eye about David Fincher was how good his performances are in his movies. And I feel like not many people are talking about how good he is at interacting with actors and getting the most out of their performance. So a few days ago, I sat down and I opened every tab I could find on David Fincher's behind the scenes. I hit a goldmine in the first video, and I should have known this because it was the Social Network opening scene. And this is probably the scene in his whole career where his ability to direct actors shines the most. I was just blown away about how much value there was in this video. So what I want to do is lay it out for you, analyze what he's doing, and translate that into actionable tips you can take in to directing your next scene. So today we're watching the behind the scenes of the Social Network.
Whenever there's something that might be a damage to his ego, just splash it right on. It's like quickly put out that fire. Of course not. I don't like rowers, giant, strong, rippling bicycles.
So saying that to Rooney Mara means that anytime she finds the time to kind of nurture Mark Zuckerberg's ego, she can do that. It gives her creative freedom.
Well, I can't do that.
I was kidding.
Fincher is giving her these boundaries with like a blanket direction.
And Jessie, when she says, we're not dating anymore, I'm sorry, is this a joke? Really, everything needs to stop, and I need to really focus on this for a second, and I really need to understand what it is you just said. And it doesn't have to be fast. I mean, you want to be on top of it, but speed-wise, you can modulate that down, so it's like, ooh, take it easy. Because that's almost more annoying. When somebody goes, take it easy, you go, oh, they care. It's like, ooh, take it easy.
Oh, it's like patronizing.
And it's not intentional, it's just like, you're hysterical. You know, it's like you just want to go, no, but I'm going to be. Give me 5 seconds.
This is gold. I always wanted to hear Fincher doing that. I can't believe I haven't watched this before. The way you talk to an actor, you have to just be emotionally intelligent. But I think what helps is when he says modulate it down, like do it a bit slower. Like speed is always a clear indicator to the actors of what to do. Like if you're saying be more arrogant, that could mean anything. And it's also making them think about themselves. But he gives them a simple way to be arrogant. He's like, if you slow it down, it's even more annoying. And you see Jesse Eisenberg, he's like, oh, so it's patronizing. He understands that he has to patronize her. I think telling them how fast or how slow is a good way to give a direction.
Rooney, you can really wind up on, yes, there is. That can be extremely pointed so that it really makes him go, I have to stop and note that for a second. That seems like another kind of communication, more than just words, which is really where I'm sort of more comfortable in.
So interesting. So he gives each of the actors their own subtextual thought behind a line. He told her he really wants her to wind up and make that pointed. He's encouraging her to make emphasis on that line, and her like kind of motivation for that line is to make him stop and note that. Then he gives Jesse a thought behind that line, which is I have to stop and note that because that's some other kind of communication that I'm not usually familiar with. I love how Fincher talks it out and explains the thoughts that are going on, and he's just talking subtextual. He's just really talking about the subtext.
And also I like the fact that you're never loud. I just feel like the last thing, if you're an it should be almost the quietest thing that you're saying. So it's like, I'm going to leave you a little secret about yourself, but you should remember next time you look at yourself in the mirror, and that is...
It'll be because you're an
There he talks about volume. Like volume is pretty easy to hit, but then he gives them a reason why, and it's through this subtextual thought, which is I want to leave you a little secret for you to think about when you look at yourself in the mirror, and that's why she wants to whisper it. So it's so easy to hit these like specific points on each line where Fincher is fully crafting the performance, but he's giving them the thoughts and the subtext behind it. So I've noticed something super interesting about some of my favorite directors is that they actually give line readings. Let me just save my butt before you start freaking out that I'm saying line readings are even something that you should be doing. Because first of all, line readings can be the worst things in the world. You shouldn't use line readings because in its worst form, it's pretty much asking an actor to copy how you're saying it. That's a bad line reading. But what I see with Fincher and Tarantino and other directors is they might give a bit of a line reading, but they're not forcing the actor to copy them. And they're also giving subtext and reasons behind it. So the line reading is more just like a suggestion, but mostly to give him the feeling that he's going for. So obviously you need to learn the rule before you start breaking it, but there's no hard, fast, like right and wrongs when it comes to communicating with the actor. You just have to realize you don't want to force them into a box. You want to communicate the subtext. And if you say a line reading, it's not the end of the world. It's about how you make the actor feel. It's about collaborating with them. I think it's more weird if you're, as the director, on eggshells, scared about what to say to them, when really you're just discussing the subtext of the character.
There are times when the he says is sort of funny and interesting. And he is sort of funny and interesting, and he is damaged goods, but it's also like, you know what? I'm done making this work. Here we go, in. It's like he was really going to finish eating, but he had to sort of put everything in place. So it's this thing of like, I'm going to take a drink, except now I hate beer and I'll never drink beer.
Right, exactly.
Because it's ruined, you've ruined it for me. I hope you're happy. Here we go.
This is stuff that you don't even think about as a human that you do, but he's communicating it through the subtext so that it comes out on the other end. It just feels natural. And I think, yes, he does so many takes, and sometimes he'll try something different, but he's usually going deeper at trying to hit that performance in a more clear way. So he's like just refining. He's not just doing takes to get different options. He'll watch what they're doing, and there's one thing over here that needs a bit of adjustment, and then he'll watch again and goes, adds this adjustment, and by the 80th take or whatever, they're nailing it the whole way through. Another thing I want to note here is that I really think that Fincher doesn't have all these notes written down before he starts talking to the actors. I think he has a couple notes to start things off, but as the performances happen, as the actors add something, he tells them what he likes about it, what he doesn't like, and he helps direct them, because you can't steer a car until it's moving. I think that's super important because it takes the pressure off you as the director to perform and make sure you're putting up this front for the actors. You just gotta trust your instincts that as you go along, you'll get ideas.
The first take we did, David let all the people in the bar speak, so that was another reason it was so satisfying, is because he tried to create a sense of realism beyond what movies logistically warrant. For me and Rooney, it lent this great sense of, at its most base level, having to speak at a high volume, but at a more psychological level of feeling like you're actually in this bar and feeling like you're actually kind of yelling at this girl who's breaking up with you, and it's confusing, and you're hearing other people talk and that's confusing too, and all that stuff kind of adds to the full experience of it.
Everything on set is to help the actors feel realistic. Having the background extras actually speak, you're not meant to do that, but it puts them in the environment. Even filming with 2 camera angles at the same time is just there to support the performance. He puts his actors in an environment so they feel like they're actually there.
You've come up to find a place where you can perch, and then and be careful not to use too many hand gestures to frame what it is. This is all about the head.
Okay.
This is all about what the head sees. And watch the coming off the wall to like make just, it's more like boom, he's here and he's
Stump speech.
yeah. And kind of give the information without looking at him, so that then when he says I can't feel my legs, I know. It's like that. Oh,
Right, because I didn't read his.
yeah, that is exactly it.
That was like a really cool blocking or just like a physical direction. He's telling him to use just his head, don't use his hands, and don't look at him. That helps to frame the performance, but it gives the actor a little like play area of like, how's he going to get across this with just using his head? It's clear for the actor, and it brings across like a very specific character trait.
You can think, you can talk just as fast as he can. Just resist the impulse to hang on that. It's like, yeah, we should ask. So we really should. Okay. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
He's not telling them how to speak, but he's telling them like how to feel, how to think. Like he's in a competition with Mark Zuckerberg to show how smart he is, and is letting him realize you can actually think you're as smart as him. That's going to bring like confidence out of the character. That's going to bring speed out of the character. Fincher's just thinking in the character, like what should they be thinking? So let's recap what we've learned. First one is giving blanket directions for a scene, talking about speed, only speak in subtext, talking about volume, focus on refining the performance as the takes go on, crafting an environment on set, using physical physical or blocking directions, choose thoughts over actions. So that is a lot of tips, and I don't think we have to be remembering all this when we're on set with actors. The main thing I'm taking away from this is focusing on talking subtext. So if you want to see us putting things into practice and you want to learn more about directing actors, you should check out this video. We actually remade a scene from The Social Network. It's also pretty cool to see our version of the scene. But if you want to look at how some other directors work with actors, check out this video here on how Tarantino directs actors. All right guys, see you in the next video.